I can tell you every single one of you here is underestimating ChatGPT. Every single one. Because what ChatGPT can do is borderline mind-blowing, that many jobs that you would need to hire people for if you're an entrepreneur, you no longer need to hire people. What I want to talk about today is this: 4 skills to rule the world. So Peter Diamandis recently released this tweet. This was just on 30th April. He said, universities need to change their business model. Rather than transient 4-year degrees, universities need to offer lifelong degree programs, incentivizing constant learning. How many of you here would agree with this? The 4-year model is obsolete. I mean, think about it. If you graduated from university last year and you stepped into the world as a fresh young graduate, ready to conquer the world with everything you learned in university, then ChatGPT emerges and everything you learned, a lot of it is now obsolete. The world has completely transformed. So what Diamandis is saying and what Mindvalley has been promoting for a long time is the idea that lifelong learning is more important because the world is changing way too fast for us to be in a bubble. But that said, of all the many things that you could learn in life, singing, dancing, art, programming, is there certain skills that if we focus on, they give us an unusual advantage over everything else? And I believe they are. So, any of you heard of Naval Ravikant, famous Silicon Valley thinker? He said, if you want to dominate the world today, there are 2 skills you need to learn. One, he said, is growing a social media presence. And the other, he said, is coding. And I agree with Naval Ravikant, both of those are important. We're going to cover those. But there are 2 additional skills. And to keep a sense of suspense, I won't tell you what those other 2 are. But let's start with the first of the 4 skills that I believe if you focus on learning these skills, and what I mean by learning is dedicating maybe an hour a week. You put your work aside, you give your kids an iPad and tell them to just watch whatever they want and not disturb you. You lock yourself in your room and you just spend an hour a week learning any of these skills. Or you even spend half an hour a week on each skill. That's 2 hours a week. You will have an unusual edge in life, an edge that is exponentially ahead of everyone else in your field if you're an entrepreneur, or everyone else in your job title if you're working in a specific role. You guys ready to hear this? So the first skill is this: coding or prompt engineering. Naval Ravikant said coding, but not all of us can learn to be a coder. Now listen, one of the best programmers I ever hired was a philosophy major who taught himself to code using websites that teach coding like Pluralsight. But still, coding to get to a useful degree was before taking a long time. But today that world has changed. Today you can learn to create incredible work on computer, to build products all the way down to UX. And you can learn these skills in 1 hour because of augmented intelligence or AI. But there's also a new emergence in coding which doesn't get talked about as much, and it's called no-code software. So we're going to come to AI in a moment, but first, let's talk about this, no-code software. So I stumbled upon no-code software by accident. It was the middle of the pandemic. So Mindvalley, in the early part of 2019, unveiled this beautiful new office. And this office made Inc. magazine top 10 most beautiful places to work in the world. And we were so proud about it. Then a bat and a pygmalion had sex, unleashing this virus into the world. And all of a sudden, the world went into this pandemic lockdown. Unfortunately, the Mindvalley office was in Malaysia, the country that, according to The Economist magazine, had the lowest normalcy return rate among all G50 countries in COVID. So Malaysia was completely locked down. Schools shut down for 2 years. Offices, you couldn't even get through. Military on the streets. 14 of my neighbors were arrested for jogging. How dare they breathe fresh air? And so what happened was that all of a sudden I was working in this room, this studio apartment, and I had to run this company. We could no longer use the office. And we had this massive employee workforce, 200, 300 people, and all of us had to learn how to communicate seamlessly without seeing each other. Now, we were a really face-to-face company. Mindvalley employees loved greeting each other, hugging each other. Basically, if we got together, we would all infect each other with COVID. So we had to keep apart. And that's when I discovered a tool called Airtable. So Airtable is one of many different no-code software tools. And I want to show you what it's like. This is what I built in Airtable as my COVID project. So I learned coding 20 years ago, but the world has changed so much. Today, if I tried to code, I would be the worst programmer. But the principles I learned of how to think about data, how to think about connecting ideas, how to think in terms of linear algorithms, this, in essence, is called computational thinking, still stuck with me. But I didn't know any of the modern coding languages, but Airtable made that easy. It gives you an interface where you can build really cool things to support your life and your business. I manage my speaking company on Airtable, and it allows me to run this speaking company with 0 employees. The role of the assistant is gone. I manage my talks on Airtable. I have an Airtable, which is essentially this really intricate database where I have the right stories, the right images to pull into my talks. I manage my friends on Airtable. If a friend is good to me, I actually have a device where I give them a higher score. If they suck, their score goes down. I'm exaggerating, but you can do all of that. Airtable is an extension of your brain. So this is what I built. I called it the Mindvalley Brain. And in it, I put all the data from Mindvalley. These are all areas of growth where we focus on, and you can see how the data connects. Mind, focus, outcomes that fall under this, programs that fall here. This is really a simple view. It's beautiful, but this is what it looks like at a back-end data model. You see, what Airtable is getting you to do is to think in terms of data structures. How many of you here know Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel? That's kindergarten stuff. Airtable looks like that, but you connect data in intricate ways, the way programmers connect data, but you don't have to learn to code. Any tool you want to build, you can then build on top of Airtable. Were any of you at Mindvalley University last year? So at Mindvalley University, we wanted a really cool app where people could see the agenda, where people could see the speakers, where you could easily find out what were the best restaurants to experience, the best shops to go to. Now, if we were to hire a company to build that app for us, there's no guarantee that that app would have the features we needed, and it would cost $18,000. One of my employees with no coding background built the Mindvalley University app that everyone used on Airtable in 2 weeks flat. 2 weeks flat. Now, you got to know how to connect data. So think of this as an Excel sheet. But where Airtable is different is you learn to connect a particular field in a sheet with another field. So when you learn this, you can actually build tons of automations around it. You are telling a machine how to think. But Airtable actually makes it super easy. This is a quick video, 90 seconds, that shows you. You don't even need to start in a complex way. You go to airtable.com, get an account for maybe like $20 a month, and then you choose what you want to build. Maybe a software to manage your nonprofit gala or event marketing. Let's look at event planning. So you can buy complex software for event planning, or you can buy an Airtable template which gives you a baseline software for event planning where you can manage your speakers, you can manage your conference, you can manage your budget, and then you can customize this software. You don't have to wait for the software that you're paying good money for to add a new feature. You add the feature yourself. It takes a while to learn, 1 week. But 1 week learning Airtable will change your life. So in my company, every single team uses Airtable. Every single team is using a software that helps them manage how they run, how they operate. McKinsey said 20% of a knowledge worker's life is wasted digging up information. If you know Airtable, all your information is so seamlessly put together that you can, at the snap of a finger, pull up whatever you need. So I'll give you an example, right? Our Airtable at Mindvalley is so advanced. If we are deciding to put a speaker on stage like Emily Fletcher, with a few clicks, my team can see every single speech Emily Fletcher has delivered on Mindvalley, what the audience rating was, every single piece of video content we have filmed with Emily Fletcher, what the audience rating was, what was a summary of that video content, what was the topic of that video content, and then we can go to Emily Fletcher and say, hey, you want to modify this part of your speech, you want to add this is what people are really looking for. Going back 10 years, everything goes on Airtable. So Mindvalley has this massive brain where we can pull up anything we need. And all of you can create a brain for anything. Study abroad programs, course scheduling, instructional design, order tracking and invoicing, student tracking. And it will cut off hours of your work. So after Airtable was incorporated in Mindvalley, this is what happened. The first thing that happened is, within months, I freed up 1 day a week. But then, as I got everyone in the company using it, we no longer needed 20% of our workforce. So, in the last 3 years, our team size has practically stayed the same. Even though company revenues have more than doubled, our team size has stayed the same, and people are more effective than ever because any data we need can be pulled up. Now that's just Airtable, right? That's no-code software. You don't even have to go to Airtable. You can now free up another day a week if you learn how to talk to this guy, ChatGPT. So let me show you ChatGPT and what it's doing. This is news from yesterday. IBM announced that they're no longer going to be hiring anymore because for a lot of their jobs, ChatGPT is going to do the jobs of human employees. And I can tell you, every single one of you here is underestimating ChatGPT. Every single one. Because what ChatGPT can do is borderline mind-blowing, that many jobs that you would need to hire people for if you're an entrepreneur, you no longer need to hire people for. So I wanted a cover for this presentation, okay? A cover of a bold, confident person on a mountaintop looking at the world because she's learning the skills to dominate the world. This cover was created in under 60 seconds using ChatGPT. Let me show you how it works. So I go to ChatGPT, and I've trained an instance of ChatGPT to understand Mindvalley brand, to understand how to talk to a different AI that produces covers. That's called Midjourney. So I tell ChatGPT, create an image for 4 skills to rule the world using Mindvalley brand elements and an image hook list. An image hook list means the image is designed to be optimized for Instagram or YouTube clicks. Use the output model I trained you on, which is the output model, to talk to a different AI, Midjourney, that produces the image. Now, this is what ChatGPT comes up with. Okay, so it comes up with the idea for the image. Now, look, all I said is 4 skills to rule the world. Look how it's thinking. A powerful and captivating image of a confident woman standing on top of a mountain peak overlooking a breathtaking landscape. The woman exudes an aura of strength, determination, and purpose. Her face is beaming with a radiant smile that shows she has mastered the 4 skills to rule the world. In the background, the purple and pink hues of the sky blend. Why? Because purple and pink are the colors of Mindvalley. All of this, I just have to give it the title, it does the rest. It knows exactly what type of image I'm looking for. Now I take this and I paste it in Midjourney, and I get 4 different types of image. Now I choose the image I want, and I get 4 variations of that image. Then I ask it to blow up the image, and voila, I have the image I showed you. 60 seconds. That's the first skill. We're going to go deep into AI on Sunday. It's going to blow your mind. AI, because of AI, we recently eliminated 30 of 35 open marketing positions in Mindvalley. So think about the cost saving this is going to have on your business. And if you're a business of one, your ability to create just got magnified 1,000 times. Every single one of you here is now officially an artist. And there are AIs where you can create UX, you can create websites, you can create articles, you can create poetry, you can create social media clips. All of this is now possible in the world right now. Now with that, you come to the second skill, building an audience. So building an audience really is how to get people to follow you on social media. Now, sometimes we kind of villainize this. We think it's all about ego. We think it's all about getting attention. No, it's not. No matter who you are as an expert, you want people to be recognizing you on LinkedIn, right? So they think about you. Maybe they want to hire your consulting business or hire you as an engineer. If you run a company, guess what? In today's world, you are the face of your company. And so if a company has a sucky CEO or who is just not able to articulate the vision, it's going to be harder to get employees. It's going to be harder to get customers. Look at the recent trend of celebrities using their celebrity to create hot new products which are competing with massive brands. Gal Gadot, who is the actress who played Wonder Woman, just launched her own macaroni and cheese brand. And she's competing with these big companies. Why? Because she has an audience. So you want to learn to build an audience. This is the second skill that Naval Ravikant, the great thinker, espoused. Now, I didn't think I could do this, but I knew it was important. I'm a late bloomer to this. In 2018, I held an A-Fest with the theme of learning the art of influence. So I brought in all the most brilliant minds I could find. I remember Brendan Kane was speaking, the founders of Goalcast was speaking, and this dude, Jay Shetty, was speaking. Jay Shetty had become the most followed personality on Facebook. In the top 20 Facebook pages, it was all brands, and then Jay Shetty. He was even ahead of Barack Obama. He had somehow nailed this. So I interviewed him. You can watch this interview if you have a Mindvalley membership. And Jay goes deep on how his videos become viral. It's under Mindvalley Mentoring. Now, observe Jay and observe me, right? I have no style. Like, look at that face. I have no style, I have no charisma, I have no idea how to dress, no idea how to speak. I don't even know what the hell I was doing. You can see the difference between me and Jay. And so after that, in a private conversation, I sat down with Jay, and I'm like, Jay, I can't do this. And I had all of the excuses. I'm like, I don't have a good accent. You have that sexy British accent. I have no style. I have bad hair. His hair, his hair is just erect, like 3 centimeters high. No matter how hot it is, no matter how much the humidity, his hair just stays, right? I had no confidence. I was too old. That was my excuse. I was 42 years old. Jay was like 33. And I was like, no one in social media wants to listen to someone over 40 anymore. That's literally what I believe. So Jay set me aside, and one by one, he poked holes in all of my bullshit. And 2 weeks later, I put up my first Instagram post for a social media audience. And I got clicks, and I'm like, yes. And that was 2018. And now it's 5 years later, and now I have 3 million fans. And collectively, these 3 million fans generate 10 million in revenue a year, because every time I talk about a project I'm excited about, or I talk about my new book, they like what I share, they trust me, and they buy. And that's a great thing. And every week I release one really profound, beautiful video to connect with my fans. So the best places to build social media in order is this. Instagram and Facebook is still king. LinkedIn, if you're a professional, a consultant, an engineer, you want to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for getting out to the business community. If you have a hot consumer product, you want to be using Instagram. And Instagram and Facebook are together because it's owned by the same company. They are linked. If you post something on Instagram, it goes on Facebook. Then there's YouTube, which is blowing up and getting bigger and bigger. There's TikTok and then podcasting. Podcasting is last because it is the hardest to break into. Everybody today has a podcast. How many of you guys have a podcast? Raise your hand. Right? So almost everyone has a podcast. Don't waste time starting a podcast. Honestly, you'll get better. It's more effective to go on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. But I want to show you how skill number 1 and skill number 2 can come together and amplify each other. You see, everything I'm sharing amplifies the next one. Okay, so this is a YouTube show I just launched. And I was interviewing this Emirati brilliant entrepreneur called Sarah Madani. So the show did really well. Clips of me and Sarah went viral, 20 million views. And this got lots of people to watch the full episode, about 360,000 people. Now I take the transcript of this and I stick it into ChatGPT. And to make sure it understands, I say, can you summarize this in 1,000 words? And ChatGPT, you can see, is so brilliant. It summarizes this 1-hour interview into 1,000 words, even nailing the key essence of Sarah's bio. But now I say, we want to turn snippets of this podcast into viral Instagram videos. What are the main factors you would look for in a podcast snippet here that can go viral on Instagram? Imagine you're a brilliant social media marketer and viral video storyteller. So here's the thing about ChatGPT. ChatGPT loves to get its ego stroked. You got to tell it, imagine you are Steven Spielberg. Imagine you are Gary Vaynerchuk. Imagine you are Jay Shetty with his magnificent 3-centimeter erect hair. And you tell it, and then it will tell you, it will think like this person, as long as this person has blog posts or articles about them online. And so ChatGPT now is giving me a guiding list. These are just 5 of like 8 points it published on what will make an Instagram video go viral. Now that I check that it understands that, I say, okay, now based on the above, can you suggest a snippet from this video with a high probability of going viral? What section or idea would you choose and why? Now Sarah shared 12 ideas. ChatGPT picked the idea that it felt would go most viral. And it did a pretty good pick. So now it explains the idea. Now observe how it's communicating with me. I would choose the snippet where Sarah discusses a unique approach to work-life balance and her commitment to taking care of her mental health. Okay, and then it goes on to say why. She says that she only works 3 to 4 days a week for 7 hours each day and dedicates an entire day to self-care. It picked the controversial text. Now I tell it, now let's work with that snippet. Exactly what lines from Sarah would we include? We can also do separate recordings of Vishen introducing or commenting on elements in the snippet. Imagine you're a creative director. Create a full script with new content for Vishen to film to introduce the snippet, and then extract from the actual podcast script I gave you. Put together a complete editorial script for us to turn into a viral video, and boom, there you go. Now I send this to a junior video editor, someone who just knows how to string bits of video together, and you have your viral snippet. An entire role within the company has been eliminated. The role of script writer, sometimes the role of creative director, completely gone, because you have ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, one by one, is replacing all the employees you would have. Future Mindvalleys will be built with no more than 20 people. And we as a company have to be very aware of that, because any one of you here could build the next great personal growth company if you learn these 4 skills. Okay, now, to get good on social media, it's not just about the algorithm. You gotta master every skill related to presence and presentation. I took public speaking classes. I signed up for acting classes, style and dressing, charisma. There's an incredible program on charisma on Mindvalley by Vanessa Bon Edwards. Body language, incredible program on Mindvalley by Body Language. Stand up, Linda Clements. She teaches you body language. Now, observe Linda when she walks into a room. Observe Linda. Men, if Linda flirts with you, you will melt, right? Because Linda has mastered body language, but all of this is trainable. Master voice training and language. So I did all of this. I hired a style coach to learn how to dress. Look at videos of me before 2019. I have no idea how to dress. I was like a complete geek on stage. Body language, I learned with Linda. I interviewed her several times. Voice training and language, I actually learned to slow down my voice, learn to articulate better. Acting, I recently went to LA to sign up for 5 days of acting classes so that little nuances will make a difference in my social media. Do you know a great actor doesn't even blink unless it's a deliberate blink? Everything, every facial expression, every hand gesture is deliberate. The greatest, most charismatic person in the world, if you look at what the public is saying, is probably George Clooney. If you get on YouTube and you type in what makes George Clooney charismatic, you will see hundreds of videos trying to break down what George Clooney does. But his charisma pays off. George Clooney is the only man in Hollywood to win Academy Awards in 6 different categories. Not just acting, supporting actor, but best adapted screenplay, best screenplay, 6 categories. No one has done that except Walt Disney, and Walt Disney was a company. So charisma actually gives you an edge. I don't think George Clooney is the greatest actor in the world, but he has mastered every little nuance of charisma. And remember, he's not like a young buck. He's a man who has gray hair. He has wrinkles over here, wrinkles on his eyes. The places where people put Botox, he actually celebrates his wrinkles. Yet, his charisma shines. I never met George Clooney, but I know 2 of his former girlfriends. And the way they talk about him, it's so endearing. They love him because he's such a good person. Now, this brings me to skill number 3. And this is where we go beyond what Naval Ravikant is talking about. And I think this skill is as important as the first two, and it's called building a network. Now, when I did my acting classes in LA, I worked with this incredible acting coach called Bernard Hiller. And Bernard Hiller said this: in Hollywood, it's not who you know, it's do people want to know you? And then he brought up George Clooney as an example. He said, all the greats, they are superbly nice people. George Clooney once got into a fight with a director, and apparently they were like fistboxing each other. Why? Because that director was mean to a couple of extras, and George Clooney didn't like that. But it turns out that people like George Clooney, Ryan Reynolds, all the great stars are superbly nice and polite to everyone. Keanu Reeves is one of the kindest people alive. Read the stories about him. And in a world where talent, the difference between talent A and talent B is so minuscule, people choose you based on, are we going to have a fun time working with you? And you want to remember that. So, if you can curate this ability to have people want to be in your presence, this becomes the third superpower. So I want to show you what I did, because I learned to use this to create networks. And I'm going to share with you a 3-minute video that shows you how I created these networks all around the world. So when I show up in LA or I show up in Dubai, extremely wealthy individuals give me their yachts or their homes and say, Vishen, I want you to bring your entire network. You can use my home, and let's celebrate together. So wherever I go in any major city, I've hacked networking. And I want to show you how, and I want to show you how you can do it as well. Watch this video.
A lot of people know about my company, Mindvalley, but many people don't know about a non-profit that I run called The Gathering. And The Gathering is all about connecting fascinating people. So every time I meet someone that's fascinating to me, I do something really sneaky. Basically, I get their name, find them on Instagram or LinkedIn, I grab their picture, I put them in a database, and I put down little information about them, what they do, their bio, why I find them fascinating, the city that they live in. And I've built this database out to 700 fascinating people. Why am I collecting people in this weird, creepy way? Well, the reason is because 10 years ago, I was feeling really lonely. And I was living in a city, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, didn't really have that many friends in that city, and I wanted to meet interesting people who would inspire me. But since no one was inviting me to events, I was so far away from the United States, I decided to create my own communities. I started building this database of interesting people. And then, if I was in a city or if I was traveling, I would host a dinner and I would invite people from that city who were in my database together. These people didn't know each other, but I would bring them together. I call this event The Gathering, and we would do a strange ritual. Everyone would stand in a circle, and I would point to each person, appreciate them, and say one thing fascinating about them. All of a sudden, everyone at my gathering knew a little bit about the other person and now had something to talk about, and huge connections would form. And I would be the center of all of these connections. All of a sudden, these gatherings started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Soon, wherever I was traveling to, wealthy individuals would give me their homes, their yachts to conduct these gatherings, because the people I brought in were truly unique. They were kind, they were loving, they had no ego, and they came with the idea to connect with other human beings and serve. In Los Angeles, just before the pandemic, Gerard Butler gave me his huge mansion. I brought together 150 people in LA, and so many close friendships were formed. More recently in Dubai, an incredible entrepreneur, Jimmy, who had learned about me through my books, gave me his yacht, the Chakra. We brought together close to 80 people. All of a sudden, in this gathering on Jimmy's yacht, you'd have magicians like DMC or Julius Dean pop up and just do magic tricks. DJ Bliss, the #1 musician in that area, showed up and started playing for us. All of these unique individuals come together and start co-creating this beautiful atmosphere. But it all started out because I was once lonely, bored, and felt that I had no friends. The reason I share this story with you is because if you are feeling that way, I want you to practice this. Create your own gathering. All it takes is a willingness to connect people and serve. Many of us want friends. We want to be part of special events, but we don't make the initiative to actually create a database of fascinating people and then act as a host to bring these people together. When you connect people, you are giving someone the greatest gift you can give them, the gift of allies, friendships, sometimes even lovers. If you're feeling lonely, don't wait for someone to ask you out. If you feel that you're not meeting the right people, don't wait to be invited into some exclusive group. Start your own gatherings. Follow the model that I created. Start collecting people. So if you feel lonely, if you feel you're not being invited to events, if you feel that you're not meeting the right people, perhaps you might want to try something similar. Don't wait to be invited. Do the inviting. You may think that there's nothing special about you, but look, if you start collecting fascinating people, you instantly become special because you're the person with the list. Keep that in mind. When my US visa ended and I had to leave the United States and go back to Malaysia, I started from scratch. I had no friends in Malaysia. It was that loneliness that was the spark that caused the gathering idea to emerge.
So, did you guys get the message there? Don't wait, create your own little gathering. Now, by the way, this is my list. These are people on my list. So I have 700 people on my list. Every time I meet someone interesting, a lot of them I met at AFES, I add them to the list. I add the country they are from. I add the field they are from. And so for example, for AFES, all of the authors and special friends that I brought together, I created a simple view using Airtable. I send it to all of them on WhatsApp, and everybody can see and learn about each other. So Niraj can learn about Peter can learn about Ken Honda. So even when they show up here at AFES, they know a little bit about each other. And this list becomes your third superpower. It becomes an asset because through this list, you can find future business partners. You can find future employees. These are the type of people you want to bring into your life. Friends and allies, mentors, employees, close team. This is like your executive team, contractors. But you have to start. You have to start by being the linchpin. The linchpin is the person who brings everyone else together. An easy way to start in your city, commit to hosting a dinner every Thursday. You don't even have to pay for it. Provide a space. Get 6 people together every Thursday. Commit to bringing people together. Build that list. And every Thursday, add new people. The more you grow your list, the faster your list is going to grow. You're going to start somewhere, but very soon, you're going to be able to give people one of the most meaningful things in the world today, social connection. Harvard found that the only thing that correlates with happiness is strength of social connection. So if you can give friendship to other people, you are giving people the greatest gift possible. And it doesn't cost money. Okay, Airtable will cost like $20 a month. But when you bring people together in your home, it's like when I bring people together in my home, I basically order food on Bolt or Uber Eats. And people contribute for the food, right? There's hardly any cost at all. I prefer doing it at homes rather than restaurants because restaurants are going to charge you money. Home, it's a lot cheaper and it's intimate. So I look forward to seeing some of you at my gatherings in the future. And this brings us to the final idea, growth mindset. So you want to be on social media. You want to gather people together and build a network. You want to have a sharp brain that can build computational thinking. You got to take care of your health. By the way, my friend Midjourney and ChatGPT created this image in 53 seconds for growth mindset. You want to look at your life from the 12 dimensions of life book and make sure that you're dedicating at least 30 minutes a day to growth. Now, I don't mean just gym, which most of you do, or exercise, or meditation. I mean deliberate growth. Watching a Mindvalley quest, reading a book on this topic, watching a TED Talk. You want to look at your life from the 12 categories, and then in each of these categories, you want to find the right Mindvalley program to help you get there. Because people who have a growth mindset never grow obsolete. And if you're growing your mind, your body, and your spirit, you also magnify your ability to rule the world. Because healthy bodies, sharp minds, people with spiritual energy that radiates and helps them tap into intuition and manifest their dreams, Those people tend to be lucky. These 4 skills are what our education programs should be teaching, but it doesn't, because our education programs kind of suck. But you can choose to learn these 4 skills. And in today's world, 2023, there's no excuse. So to repeat, computer thinking. This means no-code software and ChatGPT, Airtable, Midjourney. Look these up. Building your audience, master every skill that gives you presence and communication ability and charisma, whether it's standing on stage or learning to act or learning body language or learning how to script a viral video and put your face out. That's really important. No matter how old you think you are, or Jay Shetty will kick your fucking ass. And third, build your network, right? Start with a simple dinner party. And fourth, take care of yourself. Because those people who watch you on social media, the people who come to your home for dinner, they are going to be more drawn to you if you are a person who has growth mindset. Not a grumpy person who's constantly negative or worried about the future or has horrible habits, but someone who keeps their mind, body, and spirit in tip-top shape. 4 skills to rule the world. Thank you.